Have you ever treated itching, diarrhea, bad breath, ear infection, or apathy in your dog? But does everything always come back? Perhaps the problem was never the symptom. The real enemy may be invisible, inside the gut. Dogs' gut health controls immunity, behavior, coat, energy, and even the effectiveness of vaccines. And if that ecosystem is out of balance, your dog can suffer for years without even looking sick. Most owners pay daily attention to the dog's fur, eyes, food, and even behavior. But there's one vital part of dog health that remains invisible, silent, and often ignored: the gut. Although rarely talked about, the dog's gut is not just the place where food is digested. It represents an entire ecosystem, alive and full of impact on all body functions. From immunity to emotions, from breath to fur, from energy to response to vaccines. And when this system goes out of balance, the signs can be subtle or downright devastating. Contrary to what many imagine, symptoms such as frequent itching, recurrent ear infections, persistent bad breath, inconsistent stools, excessive gas, nocturnal agitation, and even mood swings have no behavioral or superficial origin. In hundreds of cases, the culprit is hidden in the digestive system, more specifically, in the health of the gut microbiota. In recent years, scientific studies have revealed the decisive role that the trillions of bacteria present in dogs' intestines play in the overall balance of the body. This microbial community not only processes the nutrients ingested, but also manufactures vitamins, regulates inflammatory processes, strengthens the immune system, and acts as a kind of silent command center for the entire body. And when this microbiota is damaged by ultra-processed foods, too many antibiotics, environmental stress, or lack of fiber, the effects spread like a domino. The immune system weakens, the liver is overloaded, the skin becomes inflamed, allergies intensify, and in many cases, behavioral disorders such as irritability, anxiety, or apathy arise. A dog with an intestinal imbalance may even appear healthy on the outside. But inside, it is fighting an activated inflammatory system, absorbing nutrients poorly and producing excess toxic substances. This is especially common in animals that have undergone many feed changes, had episodes of prolonged diarrhea, or have undergone broad-spectrum antibiotic treatments without proper probiotic support. The problem is that most signs of a dysfunctional gut are attributed to other causes. Does the dog scratch? It could be allergy. Are you restless? Lack of activity. Do you have bad breath? Oral hygiene. Few owners relate these signals to the microbiome, and that's exactly why this is one of the most invisible yet dangerous causes of health problems in dogs. Veterinarians specializing in canine nutrition and gastroenterology have warned the intestine is the forgotten organ in conventional veterinary medicine. Few routine tests evaluate it thoroughly, and most treatments for superficial symptoms completely ignore the role of gut flora. It's like painting a wall with infiltration without treating the burst pipe inside it. Today, it is known that up to 80% of the immune cells in the dog's body are associated with the intestine. If the intestine is out of balance, the dog will be more susceptible to infections. Vaccines will be less effective. Autoimmune diseases become more likely, and the risk of chronic inflammation, such as dermatitis or otitis, increases dramatically. And all of this may be happening silently without the tutor noticing. In many cases, dogs that have spent years living with itching, loose stools, or lethargy improve dramatically in a matter of days or weeks when their gut health is corrected. This correction, however, does not depend on drugs or complex interventions, but on strategic and consistent actions, a diet rich in natural ingredients, quality probiotics, fermentable fibers, adequate rest, moderate sun exposure, and a low-stress routine. But how do you know if your dog is among those who suffer in silence? Some signs are more evident. Very smelly, yellowish, or mucus-filled stools, frequent gas and a strong odor, alternating between constipation and diarrhea, itching without fleas or scabies, recurrent ear or skin infections, excessive licking of the paws, chronic halitosis, even with brushing, unexplained mood swings, lack of appetite interspersed with compulsive hunger. These are the symptoms that should most turn on the alert. And in most cases, they appear together, alternating as the months go by. The tutor treats one problem, another appears, and the cycle continues because the root cause is still active right there in the animal's gut. By ignoring this signal, the tutor not only postpones the dog's well-being, but also contributes to the silent worsening of inflammatory processes that, over time, can evolve into more serious diseases, such as pancreatitis, chronic colitis, liver failure, or even neurological problems associated with intestinal permeability. Therefore, understanding how the canine intestinal ecosystem works is an essential step for every owner who wants to ensure a long, active, and healthy life for their best friend. If dogs' gut microbiota is one of the most important pillars of their health, what exactly feeds this community of trillions of good bacteria? And more than that, what silently destroys it, even when we believe we are offering adequate food. For decades, the pet industry has promoted industrialized food as being complete, balanced, and scientifically formulated to meet all the nutritional needs of dogs. But what is not always revealed is that many of these processed foods contain inflammatory, highly manipulated ingredients that lack beneficial fiber, which directly compromises the functioning of the intestine. When a dog feeds ultra-processed dry food daily, its gut microbiota is constantly exposed to insoluble fibers with low fermentation, which do not feed the good bacteria, artificial antioxidants such as BHA and BHT associated with chronic inflammation, hydrolyzed or low bioavailability proteins, which leave residues in the intestinal tract, excess of simple carbohydrates, which favor wrong fermentations and cause gas, synthetic preservatives, which alter the balance of intestinal pH and promote dysbiosis. This altered internal environment favors the growth of opportunistic bacteria, which are harmless when in balance, but dangerous when they come to dominate the ecosystem. It is at this point that the symptoms of instability appear: intermittent stools, flatulence, itching, loss of energy, and eventually systemic diseases. And the problem is not limited to the ingredients themselves. The way food is offered also has an impact. Dogs that eat only once a day, that live under stress, that don't exercise, or that don't have access to sunlight also develop gut imbalances. Gut health is directly linked to routine, environment, sleep, and even the quality of the bond with the tutor. But what can be done in a practical way to restore this health and strengthen the canine microbiome? The answer starts with the food pot. The transition to a more natural diet with minimally processed ingredients is one of the most effective and sustainable steps. Balanced natural diets, such as the BARF diet, for example, have shown a significant positive impact on microbial diversity and the strengthening of the intestinal mucosa. This is because raw and fresh diets contain live enzymes, highly bioavailable proteins, essential fatty acids, natural vitamins, and, above all, fermentable fibers that serve as a substrate for good bacteria. In addition, they do not bring the preservatives and chemical additives typical of industrialized feed. Fermentable fibers are the preferred food of probiotic bacteria. Sources such as pumpkin, flaxseed, chicory, carrots, green bananas, oat bran, and psyllium are excellent for promoting this support. When introduced correctly, they help reduce inflammation, stabilize intestinal transit, and restore the integrity of the gut wall. In addition to food, there are other equally important pillars. 1. Quality probiotics and prebiotics. Administered regularly and in adequate quantities, they strengthen the colonization of beneficial bacteria and help rebalance the flora. 2. Stable eating routine. Maintaining regular eating times reduces digestive stress and favors the proper functioning of digestive cycles. 3. Fresh and abundant water. Adequate hydration is essential for the health of the intestinal mucous membranes. 4. Avoid excessive use of antibiotics and dewormers, always under veterinary guidance, as these medications profoundly alter the microbiota. 5. Stress reduction. Dogs that live anxious, lonely, or in unpredictable environments produce more cortisol, a hormone that harms the intestinal mucosa and alters the flora. 6. Exposure to the sun and nature. Walking outdoors, smelling the ground, exploring the environment. All of this contributes natural stimuli to the digestive and immune systems. It is important to say, changing the dog's diet is not something that should be done abruptly. The dietary transition requires planning, gradual adaptation, and, ideally, professional monitoring to ensure nutritional balance and support during microbiota adjustment. By making this change responsibly, many owners report impressive transformations. Dogs that previously suffered from pasty stools start to evacuate firmly and regularly. Animals that were previously apathetic gain energy and joy. The skin lightens, the fur shines, the breath improves, and the behavior stabilizes. All this because the intestine has silently returned to fulfilling its primary function: protecting, nourishing, and sustaining. And most importantly, this care for intestinal health is not a luxury, but a necessity. Integrative veterinary medicine already recognizes the gut as the second brain of dogs, a biochemical command center that directly impacts the quality and length of the animal's life. Therefore, every owner who wants to offer not only years of life to their dog, but life in years, must look inward, literally, and ask, what is happening in his intestine? When the owner understands the importance of intestinal health in the dog's well-being, the question inevitably arises, what can I be doing today without realizing it that is sabotaging my pet's intestines? This question is essential. And the answer, in many cases, lies not in big decisions, but in routine, seemingly harmless habits, which over time directly affect the intestinal microbiota, the digestive mucosa, and the systemic balance of the animal. Here are the most common mistakes that owners make, and that silently impact the dog's intestinal health. 1. Frequently change the brand or flavor of the food, even if the intention is to please the pet's palate. Constant changes in food generate instability in the intestinal flora. Each feed has different compositions of fibers, proteins, and additives. With each change, the microbiota needs to adapt. This weakens the balance and favors diarrhea, pasty stools, gas, and gastric irritation. The ideal is to maintain a consistent and well-tolerated diet, and only change with professional guidance. 2. Offer industrialized snacks in excess. Steaks, sticks, cookies, and snacks sold in supermarkets often contain dyes, preservatives, excess sodium, and proteins of dubious origin. They inflame the digestive tract and alter the pH of the intestine. In many cases, even dogs that feed on good quality food end up with intestinal imbalances because of the excess of these treats. 3. Indiscriminate use of dewormers, antibiotics, or anti-inflammatories. These medications are important and save lives when well indicated. But recurrent use, without real need, seriously compromises the intestinal microbiota. Antibiotics, for example, kill both harmful and beneficial bacteria, and when the latter disappear, they make room for opportunistic bacteria that can cause recurrent infections and chronic intestinal inflammation. 4. Diets low in functional fiber, even good foods, often do not contain enough fermentable fibers, those that serve as food for good bacteria. Diets with excess protein and few vegetables cause imbalance. The dog needs fibers such as inulin, pectin, mucilages, and resistant starch to nourish the intestine. 5. Neglecting episodes of loose or intermittent stools is common for owners to think that mild diarrhea or inconsistent stools are normal. But when this happens frequently, it is a clear sign that the intestine is out of balance. Ignoring these signs for months can lead to more serious conditions, such as chronic colitis, severe dysbiosis, or even leaky gut. 6. Lack of sun exposure and daily exercise, serotonin, melatonin, and even the digestion of dogs are regulated by circadian cycles. Dogs that live locked up with little natural light and without regular walks have hormonal changes that impact intestinal motility, the production of digestive enzymes, and the regulation of immunity. 7. Stressful environments, or without a stable routine. Dogs that live in chaotic homes, without set schedules, with excessive noise or constant punishment, develop peaks in cortisol, and the stress hormone. This hormone, when released in excess, damages the mucosa of the intestine and directly interferes with the microbiota. 8. Underestimating the power of water constant hydration is essential for intestinal function. Dogs that do not have fresh, available water throughout the day, especially those that feed on dry food, have a higher risk of constipation, mucosal dryness, and unwanted fermentations. These factors, when added together, explain why so many dogs today live in a state of silent inflammation. They can look healthy, play, eat, sleep, but their digestive system is compromised. And over time, this manifests itself more clearly, whether through skin diseases, liver changes, low immunity, or neurological disorders. The good news is that gut health can be restored, and even better, with simple and consistent actions. Adjust the diet, even if gradually. Introduce fermentable fibers and natural foods. Reduce the use of industrialized snacks. Adopt the regular use of probiotics and prebiotics. Prioritize a routine with fixed times. Ensure walks, sun, smells, and stimuli. Reduce noise, pressure, and unnecessary punishments. Always offer clean, fresh, and abundant water. Each of these changes strengthens the dog's intestine. And by strengthening the intestine, the tutor is reinforcing the animal's immune system, metabolism, behavior, and longevity. More than treating symptoms, taking care of the intestine is preventing invisible suffering, the one that the dog cannot express with words, but that screams through the body. As you look at your pet today, ask, is he getting real food or just produce? Does he move, breathe fresh air, live with balance? Or are you surviving under stress with an inflamed gut, silently fighting something that could be avoided? Dog health starts in the gut, and it depends on a single decision, that of the tutor.